Hello everyone, my name is Naveen Kulkarni and I am a PhD student at IIIT Hyderabad. I am also a working professional employed with Infosys. I thank the organizing committee of Software Engineering Research in India 2020 to give me an opportunity to talk about my work supporting comprehension of unfamiliar programs by modeling queues. Let me begin with a brief background on program comprehension. We know developers perform wide variety of tasks starting from documenting requirements to deploying software programs. The needs and the challenges they face vary with task. During comprehension, locating a goal-specific information becomes crucial and it's often laborious and repetitive task. Among many activities performed by developers during comprehension, reading code is an important activity. In particular, when modifying the software either to fix a bug or integrate an external software. In such scenarios, developers face a very high cognitive load due to the number of concepts and the complex relationships among the concepts. This effort gets even more overwhelming if there are multiple artifacts that needs to be looked into, or the developer is a novice developer, or if the software is an unfamiliar program. Previous studies have also shown that developers continue to read code despite the availability of popular integrated development environments and modeling tools. Let us now zoom into one of the specific developer activities, which is reuse. This is one scenario where program comprehension becomes opportunistic. We know reuse is a complex task spanning from identifying the abstraction, selection of the abstraction, specializing the abstraction to be incorporated, and finally integrating it into the software. For reuse, past studies by Kruger et al. And Frakes et al. Have shown that developers choose to either use case-based or scavenging approaches. In this, they choose to read code because it adds minimal barrier in terms of accomplishing the task. The effectiveness of such an approach greatly depends on the developer's cognitive distance with the external module. What I mean by cognitive distance is the understanding of all the abstractions and the structures of the program so that it can be readily be integrated into the software system with minimal impact, of course. When reading the code, this cognitive distance is reduced by building a rich mental model of the program based on the structure and the relationships and the concepts that are there, which are iteratively read and then the models are built. However, these models are volatile and the developer often needs to repeatedly read the code in order to ensure that the models are always up to date, or they don't forget the mental models that has been created. Opportunistic practices are need-based and not structured. Especially opportunistic code reading is practiced a lot despite being not so effective. And not so effective to reduce the cognitive distance. Though opportunistic approaches save time, there is enough evidence to suggest that it will lead to an unreliable system and inevitable heterogeneity. Now, to fix this problem, developers have to spend additional effort, which in itself is a complex task. As a case in point, we see this often during software reuse, where the black box reuse moves to white box and then eventually ends up with a big refactoring exercise. While we read about them, we undertook an observational study to understand the problems of opportunistic practices, especially when reading code. For the study, we chose to observe the reuse of JMap Viewer from OpenStreetMap, which is a popular open source mapping solution provider. JMap Viewer is a Java-based Sleepy Map module. We observed the reuse of the JMap viewer in two softwares, Mobile Atlas Creator and JTile Downloader. We chose these two software because of the availability of all the artifacts, and both these softwares reused JMap viewer module. We consider this an opportunistic case because while JMap Viewer module was integrated, the old functionality of map previewing still persisted, and there were multiple duplicate abstractions after reuse. For this study, we retrieved the source code revisions of the applications for a period of 1 year post reuse. We found that in Mobile Atlas Creator, the JMap viewer was reused in the black box form first, and then as a white box later after a while, and then following with the refactoring as we discussed. Similarly, in JTile Downloader, we also observed the same kind of approach where it was first reused in a white box fashion after forking the a particular revision, and then following with the refactoring of the code. What we observed is that after reuse, both the software had to deal with complex issues such as abstraction inconsistencies, unintended behaviors, and fragile structure. It was to an extent where OpenStreetMap had to block Mobile Atlas Creator due to violation of usage policy. Point to note here is that Java JMap Viewer was provided by OpenStreetMap. However, the integration resulted in an unintended behavior of massive downloads and also ballooned up memory requirements as well. Extrapolating from our study, we believe that there is a need to support developers in their opportunistic task, especially for code reading, which is widely practiced and has minimal barrier to accomplish the comprehension. But code reading in its current form has inherent limitation and does not really help in reducing the cognitive distance. Today, it is more urgent because of the availability of repositories like GitHub and internet scale search tools that enable availability of code anywhere and everywhere. So supporting developers in their opportunistic code reading is critical. So with this background, the question that now we are interested is to how to minimize the cognitive load and the distance during opportunistic code reading. We begin our exploration of this question with the foundational work done by Piroli and Latosa on looking at the informational needs of a developer. In their study, Piroli shows that developers' approach during the program comprehension closely follows the foraging behavior. It is like fact finding based on the information sent. The same information foraging behavior can also be observed during our day-to-day web browsing activity. Information sent can be understood as the perceived value of information based on cues. So in the context of code reading, let's take an example and look at what it means. If a developer is investigating how to print a message to a console, the phrases like print, write, or log in the source code will immediately draw their attention. However, if the words are in the methods, then these act as a beacon to the developers, where they are immediately drawn to that particular method, and then they start investigating that method. So Latosa and et al. Have also shown that this is something like a fact finding, where the fact finding can also span across multiple artifacts. It is also found that developers generally have an hypothesis about what they are looking for, and they use the cues to either refute or accept that particular hypothesis and then continue their foraging behavior. As cues are central to code reading, we conducted a study to understand the cue choices of developers. We believe that being familiar with different kinds of cues will help developers to investigate code faster. Like developers use multiple artifacts, they also use different cues when reading code. For example, to understand a program's intent, developers might first look at the file name and then open if it is relevant, and then inspect the method. However, in another case where when fixing the bug, they would inspect the method name either through use of call stacks. So this shows that the developers kind of try using different types of queues in order to accomplish a particular code reading activity. For the purpose of our study, we identified various queues within the source code and across the artifacts. I will show that particular list in a couple of slides later. Here in the code fragment, what we are showing is that the queues, like the lexicon-based queues and non-lexicon-based queues that the developers might choose in order to build the mental models, or they might follow during code reading. We believe that knowledge of different kinds of queues will help comprehend program faster. We conducted two different studies for this purpose to understand the developer queue choices. In the study one, we looked at code reading habits of 15 developers in a controlled experiment. 10 of them were professional and 5 of them were graduate students. We categorized them into three categories depending on their years of experience. And we chose JEdit as a software for an open source software for comprehension task, as it was unfamiliar with the participants. They were also provided with two comprehension tasks, which required them to investigate one or more artifacts. The participants were also interviewed post the task, and their responses were systematically studied. By the way, we provided with all the references and artifacts for the software, and they had to use a simple text editor to uh, read the code and not use an IDE as part of the experiment. Here is how developers recorded their responses for both the tasks. The participants recorded their understanding, identified the artifacts that they had used, and also recorded the time taken for completing the task. We studied the responses and also the interviews, and found that developers, experienced developers especially, actively seeked for the queues, and that the queue choice varied across the task. Based on all the inputs, we correlated and found the number of queues that each developer had used across the artifacts that were provided to them. As we can see, the experienced developers, the category 1, used more queues than less experienced developers, especially when the task demanded to look for different artifacts. In our second study, we investigated the IDE's influence on the developer queue choices. For our observation study, we chose 4 Eclipse projects, and we collected the developers' interaction history with the IDE when fixing the bugs for a period of about 6 years. We segregated these interactions into two categories. One where the developer was conversant with the code, and the other one where the developers were not so conversant with the code. This was decided based on the fact that who was the developer who reported and who was the developer who fixed the bug. The queue choices were derived from the developer's interaction history with the IDE. In the IDE, in this study, we found that IDE's influence on queue choices were not statistically significant. I am skipping over all the details due to lack of time. I have provided the reference here, which can be used for further reading. Based on these findings, we developed a developer task-specific queue model for code reading. We believe such a model can help reducing the cognitive distance and repeated code reading for a comprehension task. To take advantage of the queue model, we looked at how to minimize the cognitive load faced by the developer when reading code. To reduce the load, we chose summarization of a program. As we know, summarization is a technique that is often used in the web area, where to reduce the load when reading news articles or long documents. So similarly, program summarization is an emerging area of research in software engineering, where natural language summaries are generated from programs. The summarization, as we know, can help reduce the cognitive load, but now we are looking at adopting queue models to further enhance the ability of summarization technique. Murphy et al. Have shown that there's a promising work on using program summarization to reduce the effort. using the naturalness of the software and using the idiomatic style of code that is common to most of the programming languages. We developed a program summarization approach by incorporating the Q model that we proposed. The program summaries that we generated were extractive in nature, which was extracted from multiple artifacts, and then the artifacts were identified based on the Q models for a particular task. Here you see the program summaries synthesized by our approach, and also along with the summaries provided by the three categories of developers, category 1, category 2 and category 3 in our studies when they recorded their summaries for the tasks. We used pyramid evaluation technique to evaluate how good the summaries are with respect to the how good the synthesized summary is with respect to the summaries that were recorded by the developers, and we found a very high degree of similarity between the synthesized summary and the summary recorded by the developer. The pyramid evaluation looks at the information availability within the text rather than looking at comparing word to word. We found equal number of unique terms across summaries recorded by the developers. This suggested that the length of the summary should be proportional to the number of cues used by the developers, and this gave us an insight into the average summary length, which was roughly around 10% of the code that a developer investigated. We also believe that parameterizing and generalizing the Q models that we suggested earlier with the expert developers Q choices can allow transferring the experts knowledge. We are working on to reduce the cognitive distance through these Q models, and we are investigating this further and kind of helping the developers in their code reading habits. We believe that adopting Q models can improve or enhance all the or even provide the necessary tooling to support developers in their code reading activity. With this, I'd like to thank and again thank again to giving me an opportunity to present my thoughts and my work. If there are any questions, you can reach out to me on my email, or you can ask questions. Thank you.